Episode 22. Party Animals. Most adults can attest to a few things being true when generally speaking about teenagers, such as many teens don't like rules, as well as many teens like to hang out with their friends. Lots of teens like to party. Lots of teens claim at some point or another to hate their parents. Some may even wish aloud that they were dead, but it takes a select type of seemingly normal, everyday teen to desire freedom from rules and parents so strongly that they'll kill to secure the right to party. In 2011, 17-year-old Tyler Hadley was living a comfortable life with his parents, Blake and Mary Jo, and two brothers in the retirement-friendly community of Port St Lucie, Florida. Both parents enjoyed seemingly recession-proof careers. His dad had been with Florida Power and Light for 30 years, and his mom taught elementary school. During the week leading up to July 16, 2011, Tyler had repeatedly told his friends he wanted to throw a raging party that weekend. No one believed he would, since he never had before. Not only that, but his parents had been cracking down on Tyler lately, severely limiting his extracurriculars and even confiscating his cell phone. He had been doing more drugs and getting into increasing amounts of trouble in the recent past, and his folks were doing what most parents would. They tightened the reins in an effort to encourage Tyler to straighten his path. But he was spiraling. Just a week before the party, Blake Hadley had taken his son for some guy time with family, and all seemed normal. Both father and son appeared to be in good spirits. Blake loved spending time with his sons and was often seen shooting hoops with Tyler by sunset in the driveway. But as the boys had gotten older, especially Tyler, these scenes had screeched to a halt. By participating in the getaway with his brother's family, along with a family vacation planned for the following week, Blake and Mary Jo were trying to keep Tyler occupied with wholesome activities. Such a concept was foreign for teens in Port St Lucie, a place designed for retirees and therefore not at all equipped to engage the youth. On Friday, July 15, 2011, Tyler, Blake, and Mary Jo attend a birthday dinner with various family members, including grandparents and cousins, and by all accounts, the celebration is harmonious. What we now know is that during that party, and even hours, days, months, and years earlier, Tyler yearned to kill his parents. He had verbalized and articulated it over and over again to friends, but who would take that seriously? He made the decision that night after the birthday dinner with his family to use a 22-inch framing hammer to murder his parents, then be the first kid to have a party with their bodies still there. And he does it the next day. Some of his friends had received a heads-up text in the morning. Tyler had gotten a text from his friend Matt asking, "Did you do it?" To which Tyler responded, "No, but I'm gonna." As he prepared to shatter untold amount of lives, he posted on Facebook around 1:15. As Tyler prepared to shatter untold amount of lives, he posted on his Facebook around 1:15 p.m. "Party at my crib tonight, maybe." By his later account, he took 3 pills of ecstasy and listened to some rap music to psych himself up. After going to the garage to retrieve the hammer, Tyler stood behind his mother Mary Jo for 5 minutes as she worked on the family's computer. Eventually, he struck, hitting her in the head with the claw side of the hammer over 35 times. His mother's cries of "why" bring his dad, who was taking a nap. Tyler would say later that his dad just stared at him in shock. While Blake asked, "Why are you doing this?" Tyler struck him in the head and chest, replying, "Why the fuck not?" He took down his 6'1" father with a total of 39 blows. In preparation for his party, he dragged Blake and Mary Jo's bodies into their bedroom. Next, he tossed on top of them nearly everything that had blood spatter on it. This is a whole bunch of miscellaneous household items, but also whole pieces of furniture. This meant that Blake and Mary Jo's bodies lied beneath a pile that included a coffee table, broken dining room chairs, small cabinets, and other random contents of the computer area and living room. Every picture from the house was inside the room, many with the glass broken. The pile is pretty huge with visible blood all over the place. In the evidence photos published online, clearly in view are all of the cleaning supplies Tyler spent hours using to get ready for the party. The murders took place just before 5 p.m., and after cleaning up as much as he could, Tyler once again took to Facebook posting, "Party at my house, hit me up," at 8:45 p.m. And so the party began. Tyler made increasingly futile attempts to control the quickly blossoming crowd, which had ballooned to nearly 100 by midnight. Many of the attendees were people Tyler and his friends didn't even know. Facebook and word of mouth spread word of the Rager party pretty fast through the quiet town, where young people usually cruise the streets for fun. When some kid brought a neighbor's mailbox into Tyler's living room, he started paying a little more attention to what was going on. Tyler attempted to keep kids corralled inside, but with the bedrooms off limits. He told them they could smoke inside too. He didn't want kids spilling out into neighbors' yards or kicking up a ruckus this late at night. Partygoers would later testify that they had heard throughout that night that Tyler had murdered both his parents so he could have this party. His best friend Michael would see the aftermath of Tyler's crime with his own 2 eyes after he was pulled aside for a confession. Michael didn't believe him, of course. Who would want to? But he couldn't deny the fact, as Tyler pointed out detail after detail, that could only point to the fact that this party was actually a crime scene. Eventually, Tyler unlocked the master bedroom, and Michael glimpsed Blake Hadley's leg protruding from beneath the miscellaneous pile of bloody randomness. In the garage, where there were bloody footprints, Michael snapped a selfie with Tyler, expressing later that he knew he would likely never see his friend again. Although aghast, he hung around his friend's party for a bit, eventually sneaking out and immediately calling the Crime Stoppers tip line. In fact, more than one attendee called the hotline, and officers arrived at the Hadley residence around 4:20 a.m. They looked in through the living room window and could see Tyler pacing. Tyler Hadley was taken into custody and ultimately pled no contest, avoiding a trial. He was sentenced to life in prison with no parole possible, being too young to be eligible for the death penalty by 6 months. While incarcerated, he signed autographs for other inmates as Hammer Boy. He appealed this ruling. In April 2016, the 4th District Court of Appeals in West Palm Beach threw out his sentence, making Tyler eligible for a new sentencing hearing. The basis for this decision was the conclusion that Circuit Court Judge Robert Makeumson hadn't considered the correct alternative to a life sentence when making his ruling. Basically, he had referred to the incorrect version of state law to determine what his options in sentencing a juvenile were at that particular moment. The resentencing got underway October 2, 2018. Several family members gave statements and testified as to details of Tyler's childhood and crimes.
And we are hearing an apology from the Port St Lucie man himself.
I'd like to direct this to my entire family. All of you. Everyone. All of you. Not a single day goes by that I don't think about my parents or my whole family that are affected by this. I don't expect forgiveness, and I know they will never forgive me. I'm not expecting this.
I still don't understand myself and the reasons for my atrocious actions. I really don't know. Contrary to what anyone else may tell you, I'm telling you the truth. For me to try and explain would be like making excuses, and there is no excuse.
Tyler himself even quickly read a statement, although he didn't acknowledge any of his relatives that were arm's length away. The defense argued for 2 consecutive life sentences, which would result in automatic review after 25 years. The judge has the ability to choose the minimum of 40 years all the way to the maximum of life without parole. Defense attorneys had until just a few days ago, November 9, 2018, to submit their closing arguments, and the decision will take weeks to months. I will let you know what happens as soon as it happens. So Tyler Hadley wanted to be the first kid to kill his parents and throw a party with their bodies still there. Being a kid, as he was back in 2011, it seemed he actually thought that he would be the first to have this idea and carry it out. Several other podcasts have covered Tyler Hadley and the Hammer Time murders in much greater detail, and I only mentioned it because he was not the first teenage boy to commit this kind of crime. An even worse killer seems to have struck back in 2003 in my home state of Arizona. His name was Zachary Eggers, and he was 16 years old, living in McNeil, about 20 miles north of Douglas, adjacent to the border crossing at Sonora, Mexico. Also located there is Arizona Department of Corrections Prison Complex Douglas, where Zach's parents both worked. Father Brad was a substance abuse counselor of 12 years, while Mother Delyn had been with the Department of Corrections for 7, working the overnight shift in security. On Tuesday, December 9, 2003, prison officials contacted the Cochise County Sheriff's Office to conduct a welfare check. Neither Brad nor his wife Delyn showed up for their shifts at the prison. This is cause for concern, as the co-workers were usually a reliable couple. When officers show up, Brad and Delyn weren't around, however, several juveniles were. What they saw and heard at the Eggers property alarmed them enough to seek and obtain a search warrant, which was served the following day, Wednesday, December 10, 2003. Also on Wednesday, authorities went to Douglas High School to question the Eggers' youngest son, Joshua, age 14. Delyn's niece, age 17, whom the family had welcomed in 2 years before when her sister passed away, was a student there as well. When authorities are in the office, in walks Zach with his girlfriend, although he was no longer a student there, having been suspended a few months prior for smoking marijuana, then ultimately expelled. This gave officers time to question Zach at greater length. When they spoke to him the night before, he had stated that he hadn't seen his parents for a few days and that he didn't know where they were. They interviewed him for about an hour when he confessed. 16-year-old Zachary Samuel Eggers admitted to police that he had ambushed, then gunned down each of his parents separately. He showed absolutely no remorse for causing the violent and untimely deaths of his parents. However, he did say that he was angry for being caught. Execution of the search warrant at 6900 North Indian Place revealed the details of this heinous crime. The body of Zach's mother, Delyn, was found in a barely foot-deep grave near the above-ground swimming pool. Zach had shot Delyn from a range of 5 feet using a 20-gauge pump-action shotgun that was located in his closet as the premises was searched. She was standing on the steps of the family's mobile home preparing to enter after returning home from her graveyard shift at the prison. Zach immediately dragged his mom to her awaiting grave behind their house. Cold-heartedly, he then lay in wait, knowing that his father Brad would be home for his lunch break soon. As he approached the house, he was met by his middle son, who abruptly blasted him in the torso with the shotgun. Brad asked Zach, "What are you doing?" His son answered him by pumping a second hole into his chest. Upon closer inspection, slug holes were visible in the sides of the home. Zach proceeded to drag his dad to a 2-foot trench near where the septic tank was located.